Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the Super Life podcast with me, Darin Olien. Today, we're going to dive into this groundbreaking and really still underreported topic, the link between gut health and mental health. Did you know that your gut might be controlling your mood, your energy, and your ability to think clearly, and even your risk of depression, anxiety, stress? New research is uncovering how the gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria and other microbes living in our digestive system, directly communicate with the brain. That's right. Science shows us it's a direct communication from our gut to our brain. The gut-brain axis is responsible for producing key neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, GABA, which regulate mood, anxiety, and cognitive function. With an imbalance in our gut, this is called a dysbiosis, which through the research is causing some of the mental health disorders without even you realizing it. Parasites might be contributing to this equation as well. While many cultures regularly, multiple times a year, clean parasites, the Western world, us, largely doesn't do anything, and this may be affecting millions of us through our mental states and through our physical health. Today, we're going to explore cutting-edge research around the gut-brain axis and the symptoms of the gut's dysbiosis, how to test potentially for this gut imbalance, and what we can do to restore our gut and take control over not only your gut and what digests, because what you eat needs to be digested first by your microbiome. And imagine if it's off and it's in dysbiotic behavior, not only are you not going to receive the nutrients, but this may be controlling a lot of your mental well-being. So here's the thing. The gut-brain axis is a complex communication system that connects the gastrointestinal tract with our central nervous system. Just think about that for a sec. Our gut is literally connected to our central nervous system. We think of, well, our brain's over here, our gut's over here, but that literally means your gut talks to your brain. And how does it do that? It does it primarily through the vagus nerve and a cascade of biochemical signals. So you've heard this before, but 90% of your serotonin, that's the transmitter that makes you feel happy, is produced in the gut, not the brain. And this is a study done by Johns Hopkins Medical Center. Studies show that depressed patients have different gut bacteria compared to healthy individuals. In fact, when gut bacteria from depressed humans were transferred into mice, the mice started exhibiting depressive-like behaviors. And in 2019, a study in Frontiers in Neuroscience found that supplementing with specific psychobiotics, these are specific probiotics designed to affect the brain, can reduce anxiety and depressive symptoms. Wow. You know, I know about this stuff, but when you read it and it shows up in our linear brain as supporting this wild idea that the gut and the brain are communicating, it still blows me away. In addition to that, over 300 species that we know of parasites and 70 plus species of protozoa lives in the human, which is affecting over 1 billion people worldwide, maybe even more. These parasites can trigger chronic inflammation, disrupt the gut biota, and increase your risk of mental health disorders. This was a study done by the Journal of Infectious Disease. Again, all of this research is in the show notes. Well, so what's the role with this overrun parasites? Well, the question is, could parasites be making you more anxious, depressed, or even tired? While again, in the Western world, rarely discussed, parasite cleanses have started to come into our culture, but it's really kind of flippantly in the healthcare world. So here's a supplement that will help you with your parasite cleanse, but this is very complex. It's not just taking a pill that will kill off or ward off these parasites. These things are extremely strong and robust, and different stages of life have their own defense mechanisms based on what you're eating, stress levels in your body, what areas of them that exist in your body, large intestine, small intestine, you name it. They are very brilliant because they've been around a lot longer than us. And new research suggests that parasites may play a larger role in gut dysbiosis and mental health than ever thought before. Parasites can manipulate brain chemistry. Some parasites interfere with the dopamine and serotonin production. Toxoplasma gondii. This is a parasite found in undercooked meat as well as many cats. For you cat lovers, I get it. But this shows up in cat feces and can be in your environment. And this has been linked to crazy, challenging issues, even schizophrenia, aggression, and impulsivity. This is something we need to talk about. A researcher, Dr. Mohsen Hermanish, told me 25 years ago, don't have a cat because of this toxoplasmosis. That's just one parasite. Parasites can disrupt gut microbiota. These parasites can wipe out the beneficial gut bacteria if they're overrun and create a perfect environment for them, but a harmful environment for you, which is leading to inflammation, potentially anxiety and depression. They can cause even nutrient deficiencies. They can affect the mood. They can rob the body of essential nutrients like vitamin B12, iron, and even magnesium, all of which most people are low in. Funny enough, right? In this Western world, we're low in B12, iron, and magnesium. Maybe there's a direct correlation. Maybe we're running around with a bunch of parasites who are thriving in our environment. And we'll get into how they thrive and how they stick around. But this could have a detrimental effect on your mood, your gut, and your nutrition, and anxiety and stress, and all of those side effects that happen as a result. So some of the common symptoms of parasites overrunning in your body, that could be brain fog, chronic fatigue, digestive issues like bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, unexplained anxiety or depression. Because we think of anxiety and depression as stuff out here is affecting us here, like things not going the way. And of course, there's mental and emotional to all of this stuff. But they could be co-contributors in this whole thing. Also, just your overall well-being, because if you have parasites or gut dysbiosis, your nutrient deficiencies will go up. You will not receive the amount of nutrients, even if you're eating next to someone with a healthy gut, and I'm eating the same plate of food with someone with dysbiosis. That person with a healthy gut is actually going to be receiving more nutrients than the person eating the same meal. So you can be running around saying, I'm eating perfectly, I'm doing everything right. But if some of these things around gut dysbiosis, and this is a big topic, I'm not going to get into all of it because we know now that glyphosate can tear apart that very thin layer that is between the outside world and our inside world, the digestive tract, that thin layer of absorption, can get cut, can get harmed, can get inflamed and open up, and therefore other materials that are not supposed to be in your bloodstream end up going into your bloodstream in other areas. That too creates inflammation, which could lead to all of these same symptoms. So this is a tricky one. So if you suspect you have any sort of gut imbalances, parasites, or dysbiosis, there are some key testing that you can do. There's a stool testing. This is a comprehensive gut analysis, and they're getting more and more accurate as we understand more about this complexity of the microbiome. This can detect bacterial imbalances. This can detect parasites and overrun fungi and other inflammatory markers. This comprehensive gut analysis is a good tool to see what your complete profile of your gut microbiome is, which can then give you a lot of insight as to how to approach it. Because if you're just taking nutrients, like a lot of the functional medical doctors don't even do these tests. Now we're showing links to not only the blood-brain area, but also cancers and other things. So we need to be aware of this parasitic side of gut dysbiosis. There's other tests you can do, which is called an organic acids test, or called an OAT test. This is a urine test that detects metabolic byproducts of the gut, of the bacteria, because when the gut is imbalanced and has parasites or not, that dysbiosis has its own discharge, and that discharge can then show up in this organic acids test from your urine. And you can look at markers like yeast, fungi, and parasites that way as well. This could give good, strong indicators. There's also breath tests. That's right, breath. From that can indicate the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. You may have heard of this. So you can do a breath test. This measures the hydrogen and the methane gases produced by your gut coming out of your mouth. Kind of makes you think, man, like someone has a gut dysbiotic activity, and then you're kissing them or around them, you might be picking up on some bacteria or senses that just something is not right. I am around people when I can smell, it's beyond bad breath. It's kind of, I've been around people where I perceive something and I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind is you're dying. And this is probably you're dying inside. So something rhotic, full of rotten material is coming out, and that can show up. And imagine if you don't deal with this at all, this can run rampant in your body, and then you'll be kind of playing whack-a-mole for the rest of your life. And I'm telling you, parasites, most people have them. I've traveled a lot. I've got a lot of tests done on my microbiome, and I currently have a bit of an invasion that got triggered through a bunch of travel experience. Some of it I've in 2007, when I got back from India the first time, I got wiped out. I couldn't eat. I was bloated like I was pregnant. I had zero energy. I used frequency devices by kind of the original frequency disseminator, Dr. Royal Rife, in the 1920s. This is a whole nother topic, but this can be very powerful because remember, everything is a frequency. So even these bacteria, the healthy, the non-healthy, everything has a frequency. So if you hit it with a frequency that is not conducive for particular bacteria or parasites, this can start killing off and regulating itself. But there's a lot of things you can do. The diet and nutrition are huge for this healthy gut-brain axis. So again, I'm going to say these things and you have to implement them if you want any change. This will help not only help with a bit of the parasites. Parasites are pretty specific. So I'm not going to get into those specific protocols. Dr. Hulda Clark, back in the day, she's now passed away. She had pulse frequency technologies. I used to put it on my pulse points. It was a little battery charged, and it would run frequencies through the blood, and it was very helpful when I was traveling. But you can also do probiotic-rich foods. Obviously, I always eat coconut kefir. Of course, the yogurts, the kimchi, the sauerkrauts, the kefirs, all are incredibly good. Prebiotic foods. This is something that's still not talked about enough. Prebiotics are good in the sense that they are fibers, largely, that help promote the good bacteria. Some of them are garlic, onions, asparagus, and even greener bananas. One of my favorites that I found out in the Andes of Peru, this is a powerful fructooligulosacchariide, is a type of prebiotic. This was from this tuber in Peru called yacon. I spent a lot of time with the researchers out in the field, in the ground, starting to understand this powerful prebiotic. So it's one of my favorites. We even talked about it in season 1 of Down to Earth. And we showed it, and we were with the researcher. Incredible episode there. So just also increasing the fiber intake. This is incredibly important for your gut lining and a healthy microbiota. Now, there also could be food allergies, food sensitivities. So again, this is very complex. I'm only touching on some things to think about. But you can start, once you understand your microbiome, you can start targeting based on what you're deficient in and what's overrun. You can start targeting probiotics, and there's a thing called psychobiotics now. Certain probiotic strains are specifically linked to improve mood, mental health, such as 2 very powerful ones, Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Bifidobacteria longum. Lactobacillus reduces anxiety, has been shown in research, and Bifidobacterium also enhances the resilience to stress. So these 2 strains are really powerful. So parasite and gut cleansing protocols. There is the ones that worked for me, plus the frequency device, because I had some strong parasites from India. Wormwood, black walnut, and cloves. Again, I just want to say, this is not medical advice. This is for information purposes only, so consult your medical doctor, get your own testing before you start buying a bunch of stuff and going willy-nilly at this stuff. So anti-parasitic herbs, wormwood, black walnut, and cloves. The great thing about those 3 is they hit the different life cycles of the parasites. And then when you switch your diet around with less ultra-processed food and less stress and everything else, then you start creating a different environment where you invite those parasites out of your body because they cannot thrive anymore. And there's also medical deworming treatments. I've never done any of those, but if it's severe, these things, I've seen some weird stuff coming out of people. Of course, one powerful one is just stopping, fasting, and other gut reset protocols. So again, this is not medical advice, but you can fast either Intermittently, you can fast for 24 hours, 36 hours, 3 days, water fast, and just not feed yourself anything so your body can rest and recover and restore. Also, a very powerful thing of the gut-brain axis is the stress reduction and lifestyle changes. Stress shuts down good digestive activity, so this really is challenging. So reducing the stress is a really big proponent of restoring the gut. Also, just daily movement and breathing, because breathing itself can reduce the stress, and daily movement absolutely shows that it helps gut bacteria diversity, as well as having dogs. Dogs don't carry the toxoplasmosis. They don't carry that. Dogs and other animals can bring in healthy bacteria from the environment and increase your diversity. Like I said, breath work and sleep is huge. So make sure to work on your sleep, because that will reduce your stress, that will allow for rest and recovery of especially the brain and the gut, and this axis is extremely important. So the whole idea of mental health needs to be looked at differently than just it's your issues from your mother or your father, right? We need to look at the brain, we need to look at the gut, and just thinking that it's some sort of mental health, it's not accurate. Like, it's not just the brain. So when you realize there's this most complex system in the world, our bodies, our brains, our systems, we need to address everything that's going on. What you put in your mouth is creating the next environment for healthy bacteria or not healthy bacteria, and or feeding parasites. So if you've been struggling with unexplained mental fatigue, depression, brain fog, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, then I would start in that gut area. I would start getting tests. I would even consider parasites, and at this point, at least once a year doing a parasite cleanse. This is really, I'm right in the middle of one right now. So if you're curious about getting tested, then I would. There's nothing wrong. Information is power. Working on your gut optimization will also help you explore this gut-brain solution and these dietary shifts, these lifestyle changes. But if you do nothing, nothing changes. So let's take back control of our mental health truly from the inside. And then when you have legit mental trauma, PTSD, all of that stuff, of course, what I'm saying is this is not to say that it's all this or all that. It's probably a bit of everything. So there's no easy answers. It's easy to put these things together, this kind of information together, and then just dump on you one thing, two things to do, and it will solve all your problems. The thing is, this is so complex that we should at least look at systems approach to our body. Our gut, the gut's connected to the brain. Parasites can be picked up almost anywhere. And then on top of it, if your gut and your food intake and your water intake and your stress levels and your sleep is off, all of these contributing factors will create an environment for or against for this healthy brain gut axis dysbiosis or beneficial environmental balance. So, yeah, it's a lot, but it's powerful. So some of these kits you can get for fairly cheap, but it will save you so much time and so much frustration if you just take a little power back by getting some tests done. I have no allegiance to any. I've used Viome. I do have it on my website. They have an advanced gut analysis. They can even tell you what foods to potentially stay away from based on what your gut's saying. So get some information, take your next steps, and take your power back. Because the thing is, we don't want to just run around with this body and expect it just to be perfect and then we're not taking any responsibility for it. That's not what sovereignty is. Sovereignty is taking ownership. This is my body. This is my responsibility. This is something I should and need to learn about. My own body, my own system. You don't have to be a PhD, but you can listen to where you think you need to go from and listen inside to your body and say, if anything that I've said raises a bell, follow it and just learn and get some more information. Okay? Have the best day ever, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. I love you. I'm here to support you. I want you to have the best life ever. I want you to have a super life.